Okay. Most people believe that in order to be able to make a lot of money, you must first accept the idea that you have to work hard. You really have to work hard. And I was in a coaching session this week, this past couple of weeks ago, when a conversation came about of a man who lived in a particular community who worked extremely hard. He was a farmer and he worked endless days and nights under the moonlight to be able to provide for his family. But somehow it didn't show up in his financial status. He was still one of the poorest men that lived in that particular community. And it threw me aback because I started looking at the people around me that I know that worked very hard as a child, really, really hard, but they never seemed to be able to live in abundance. They were always in lack, limitation, scarcity, but they were hard workers. And it leaves us with a question as to whether or not the statement that in order to be rich, in order to be wealthy, in order to have a lot, you need to work really hard. And while that may be a part of the equation, I am here this morning to be able to shed some additional light on what really causes wealth, what builds wealth. In my studies, I have realized that the number one reason why people are stuck in scarcity, lack, limitation is based on the beliefs that they carry in their mind regarding wealth and abundance. And for most people, we were all brought up to think that money was not such, one of the greatest things. In fact, it was considered filthy. And then there were other connotations that we grew up around, indicating that money is the root of all evil. Money doesn't grow on trees. And then also living in an environment where lack showed up most of the times. Many of us remember probably going to school and we had our shoes on, but inside the shoe, the bottom of the shoes was wearing away, and we literally had to put cardboard in there to keep that shoes going. Don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. Or whether or not it was running home from school to grab lunch because your parents just couldn't afford to be able to give you lunch money. That was me. I had to run from school, get home, get a meal, and run back to school, sometimes with a meal in my hand, trying to get back to school because we were living in lack. Yet around us, there were many people who had it all, who basically live an abundant life. So, how can you shift yourself from the limitations, the thoughts of lack, limitations, not enough, to a place of abundance? And it all resides in the laws that govern wealth and prosperity. We, on Tuesday, in the first part of our series, we connected with two of the laws. We looked at cause and effect. And we need to remember that we cause our effect. You can cause your effect. So how you see things is how you will feel things and how you will live things. It will show up in your life based on the thoughts that you carry. Bear in mind that thoughts give you feelings, and the feelings cause you to take action, and the action gives you the result. So if we're living with the thought that wealth is hard to come by, then the feeling goes to lack and limitation, and the actions we take we take limited action to create limited results. And then we sit and wonder, why is it that I am not prospering? Because the thought in your mind is not a prospering thought. It's just that simple. Now, whether or not you believe in the laws or not, they don't care. Gravity does not care if you believe in it or not. It just goes on to do what it does. If you hold a pen, it's going to drop. Nobody want to jump from a building 30, 40 stories high, because what? The law of gravity will cause something. And the same with money. The laws that govern money are going to work every time, whether or not you believe it. Now, the second law that we looked at outside of cause and effect was the law of vibration. Now, many people talk about the law of attraction, the law of attraction, the law of attraction, but prior to the law of attraction, the law of attraction can never show up if you're not vibrating something. So let's go back to our thoughts. If we're thinking thoughts of lack and limitation, then our feeling, the vibrational energy that we live in, is lack and limitation. As a result of that, we attract to us much of the same. It's similar to being on Facebook. And, if you look at a certain page or certain things on Facebook, all of a sudden you start getting feeds with all of the things that you are looking at. If you're interested in certain things, if you click certain links, you start getting more things associated with that link, with that what you clicked on, with that subject area or that idea. So it is with law of attraction, law of vibration. If you're feeling certain things, you're going to attract more of it to you. It's also referred to, if you can look at the reticular activating system. If you think of pink Cadillacs, I guarantee you that you're consistently thinking of it, you're going to see more pink Cadillacs than you ever imagined, because your reticular activating system is now set up to look for those things. So it will bypass other things, other cars, to make sure that you see pink Cadillacs. If you're into any other car, the same is the result. You're going to see more of it. I remember coming to Florida and I thought that Florida was just all about Mercedes-Benz. Everywhere I turned, I saw it. Why? Because that was a thought in my mind. All right. So that vibration will draw to you lack or abundance. What are you vibrating? What are you vibrating based on the ideas and thoughts that you have in your mind? This morning, though, I want to take you to a very crucial law, and it's called the law of compensation. I am absolutely connected with this particular law because it answers so many questions that I've had throughout my years. I wanted to know, why is it that some people may be in the same business, taking the same training, having the same mentors, with the same talents, yet another one is shooting her way to the top and making it happen, and another is merely scratching the surface of success? What is it? And herein lies the law of compensation. The law of compensation clearly states that in order for you to be compensated richly, three things has to be in place. Number one, there has to be a need for what you do. There has to be a need for what you do. So if you take a look at your current career or your current endeavor, ask yourself, is there a need for what I do? And I can guarantee you there's a need for what you do. The other question is, in order to be compensated richly, you must consider, how good am I at what I do? So the law of compensation states there has to be a need for what you do, and now your ability to do it well, How well do I do what I do? Is it just a passing moment for me? Do I merely scan the surface? Or do I really study to be able to bring the best of myself to the table? That is why specialists get paid more than someone who scans the surface, but a specialist who dives in, who applies themselves wholeheartedly, will always be paid more handsomely than somebody who is scratching the surface. And the third thing you consider in the law of compensation is, how much will it take to replace me? We know that I tend to ask myself this question before I go there. I tend to ask myself this question. If I were the only person in my industry, would my industry survive or would it die? In other words, another thing you can look at, should I leave? Will they even need to replace me? Am I valuable? You know, there's some people who leave a job and you have to replace them with 4 or 5 people, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. And there's some people who leave and it doesn't matter. They don't need a replacement. So in order to be compensated well, consider these 3 things: a need for what you do, your ability to do it, and what it will take to replace you. That's the law of compensation in high gear. So it's never an outside element. It's never your customers. It's never your team members. It's never your coworkers. It all comes from inside of you, applying yourself, applying yourself. How do you show up? You know, how do you show up on your job, in your career, to be able to compensate, to be compensated well? Now we're going to move from the law of compensation over to the law of giving and receiving. We should willingly give and graciously receive. You know, some of us love to give, but we have absolutely no space to receive anything. We can give freely, but we're not open to receiving anything. And you have to pay attention to that by asking yourself 2 key questions. Do you feel worthy? Do you absolutely feel worthy of wealth? Do you feel worthy of having a lot of money? All right, and I'll say this about money, because when you hear it, something in you is going to start bubbling up if you don't have a good feeling about money. But money will take you far more than your physical self will ever take you. It can do more in terms of helping others, in terms of the experiences you have in life, how you live, where you go, how healthy you are. It will take you far further, okay, than you can physically go. So money is an energy, and it comes to those who receive it with gratitude. We receive it with gratitude, and who's expecting it, not repelling it. The other question you want to ask yourself about the law of giving and receiving is, do you give grudgingly? Do you give and then wonder, oh, I have to give them this, I have to give people this, why do I have to give that? The law requires you to have an open end. Whatever goes out is going to come back in, and it's a cycle. I think of when I personally pay for something, a bill or something, I'm thinking, how many people's lives is this going to touch and change? And you'd be surprised. I remember sitting in a meeting once, and I looked at my career in direct sales, and I think of the purchase of inventory to market to my customers. And I look at, you know, in the plant, in the manufacturing plant, when I purchase products, the staff in the manufacturing plant are going to get paid. The scientist who created that product is going to get paid. And it goes out to the packing, they're going to get paid. People who make boxes are getting paid. Listen, when it leaves there and it gets on the UPS truck, the UPS truck drivers are getting paid. You know, you're looking at gas, people who sell gas, the truck drivers drive. So it's connected. When money leaves your hand to pay for something, it is touching, changing, and transforming and helping so many people's lives. Yet we grudgingly pay bills and worry about that. You can't worry about something that is giving you a greater experience. That's what the money does. You can't eat money, but you can have a great meal. You can't eat money, you can have a great meal. I said that for a key reason. Allow it to flow out, and as it flows out, it flows right back in. The law of giving and receiving. Then there's the law of supply and demand, which is quite similar to compensation. Is there a demand for what you do? Is there a demand for what you do? And then the other question you ask yourself in terms of supply and demand, if there's a lot out there in terms of supply, there's a whole lot, you're going to know that your paycheck is going to be less. But if there is a greater demand for what you do, you are going to get paid higher. because there's a greater demand. And hence that cycle of how much, how badly, how valuable is this career that I'm in? Do people need what I offer? Now, let's go back for a moment and look at why we're here. We're unlocking your inner money machine, your mindset around money. You will not create significant income until you come to terms that money is everywhere and it goes to those who are expecting it and who treats it that way. You should never honor money. You should never use people and honor money. You use money and you honor people. You use money and honor people. With that said, I want you to know that I'll be here on Tuesday morning to take you to the next two laws that govern money. Our goal is for you to become purposefully aware of the things that causes wealth in your life so that you can practice those laws like you practice and ensure that you pay close attention to the law of gravity. You want to pay close attention to the laws that govern your overall success and your income, your wealth, your abundance, that prosperity, so that you can use those laws to direct the flow of all that comes to you. I want to thank you for the privilege to serve you. My number one priority each time that I'm in front of a camera on Facebook or anywhere is to remind you, of course, that I want for you harmonious relationships. I want for you income that's ever and always increasing. I want for you to be able to bask in a career opportunity that brings out your passion and your purpose. I wish for you health and happiness. But above everything, I wish for you peace that surpasseth all understanding. Peace that surpasseth all understanding. Have yourself a beautiful day and continue to unlock that inner money machine. You were never born for lack or scarcity, but to prosper and to use your prosperity to be able to impact the lives of so many more people. Have a great day.